So last week was my first official week at working 100% on my own, and I feel like I'm developing a real flow. Even though it had just been 1 week, I think I can see where everything is going. So last week, Monday through Friday, I focused on the car that I'm working on. Even though it's the Accord in this case, I feel like that's what I'm gonna do. During the week, during work hours, the only thing that I should be messing with is the cars that are in there to make content or any other kinds of things. Maybe it's a customer car or a project car. But the weekends, my father's coming out on the weekend. That's when we can figure out what we need to do to improve the shop, do little projects here and there, make the shop better, make my work week better on the weekends by coming up with little projects. And eventually we'll run out of stuff to do, and then I'll just be working 7 days a week on project cars, or maybe I could take a break. So in this video, I want to make a little workstation that I want to put a vise, and I want that vise to be outside at all times, which isn't really good. I don't like my tools being outside, but my thinking is I want to have the vise out here as a workstation, and then every other tool that I have, I want to make it modular or put something underneath it. That way I can clamp it into a vise. For example, I have that metal shear that was at my old shop that I actually bought from the owner of the property. We restored that, got that looking really nicely. I want to put a plate underneath that, or a little rib, so that way when I want to use it, I can just bring it outside, set it in the vise, and then I have my metal shear. Or for example, my bead roller, you just put the bead roller into a vise. And I have a couple other tools. The stretcher and shrinker is already on a jig that goes onto a vise. So we get the outside workstation, the workbench, and then I also want to put up more signs. Let's just get into it, man. Can't wait to get going.
And now, you're watching the Sideshow Body Flying Video Watching Enthusiast channel of YouTube. Welcome to Bodie Vision.
Hey, so what is up, and welcome, and thank you so much for joining me on yet another video. So the first thing that I want to do for this little pad, I want to make the pad first for my workstation. We're going to go ahead and set the forms, dowel in the rebar. We're going to bag mix the concrete because it's just going to be 7 bags. That's 6 inches thick, 2 feet by 2 feet, and then let's just go ahead, let's get that set up. And I also want to place in my stand before I weld it together, and I want to do that while the concrete is still wet because I'm going to be using eye bolts in all 4 corners, and I'm going to place it in. That just makes the most amount of sense to me. Now that I got my stand put in place, what I want to do is I want this little work pad to match the driveway. And the way that I'm going to do that is the same exact finish. I'm going to go ahead and picture frame it in. I'm just going to use my little edger. I'm going to edge it one time, then I'm going to broom finish it, and then I'm going to edge it one more time from there. So at this point, it's been a couple of hours and the concrete is pretty well set. So what I want to do is I just want to drop in the entire stand now that the whole thing has been welded. I want to test fit it. I want to make sure it's going to work, and I'm going to go ahead and wait overnight. And the next day, what I'm going to focus on is I want to level out the stand. You want to make sure the stand for your work area is level, even if you're on a driveway that's slanted. And this driveway is slanted just because it's a ramp going into the shop. You still want your workspace to be level, because as you're working on it, if you're working on anything, you want that something to have a common ground to go back to, which is the level of the stand. It just makes more sense to be level. So we're gonna go ahead and level it out, cut off the studs, and then get that thing painted.
It doesn't sit on it by itself, right?
Yeah, it does. At this point, the stand is looking good. We can go ahead and leave that and move on to our next little weekend project here. The next little project is gonna be the workbench. We're just gonna worry about framing it out, get it slapped together, and next weekend we're gonna finish it off with all the doors and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and start to frame it in. We're gonna have 3 different levels, the level at the bottom, one at the middle, and one at the top. Now the last thing that I want to accomplish this weekend, now that the workbench is framed out and I can start to use it, next weekend we'll go ahead and focus on the doors and the hinges and painting it and figuring out our top surface. Whatever we want to do for that, we'll figure that out then, because all week I just wanted to be able to work in a better workspace, and that's what I'm going to be able to do. So now I want to shift gears, and now that we have the workbench, we got the basic layout of the shop, which should be the forever layout of the shop. I want to start to put more signs up. I really like the banner that I had on that sidewall, but that banner doesn't make sense anymore. So I'm just gonna move some stuff around, grab some other signs that I still had that we didn't use on the front. Just gonna go ahead and place them, figure out where I like them, and really make the shop start to feel Bodie Vision. She's coming along. Workbench is super sturdy. That's 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood. So 2 layers on the top. The shelves are just 1 layer, but the shelves aren't going to be a workspace like the top of the workbench is. I mean, I got a battery right here. It's solid, it's good. I got my signs where I want them. I got a bunch of other stuff going on, stuff that is absolutely necessary, like all my cups for my guns. They're PPS 2.0 cups. Also got my reel over here. The toolbox was moved a little bit. This wall over here is very similar to my old wall in my shop, and I like that about it because it feels like it's the old shop. It feels real familiar, feels real nice. The workbench, I think it's really nice. I really like that. Our little workspace over here, as you can see, that's coming along really well. It's nice and solid. Real nice. I still have to make my little jig for my shear. Let me grab that actually. I don't know if you remember from the old shop, but this is actually that same old rusty, nasty shear. Looking really good. My father actually tore it down, fully restored the whole thing, doing one of those dad projects while I was busy doing other stuff, which is super cool. Really appreciative that he did that. Got the vise matching, all that stuff is really good. Everything is looking good, and I'm feeling like I'm ready to attack. Ready to attack next week, and next week what I'm gonna do, keep making progress. God damn, that light is crazy. Oh man. So next week, what I'm going to do in the next video that you're going to see is continuing to make progress on the 1988 LS1 swapped Honda Accord. I've already been working on it today, already working on the next video as we speak. Got pretty much all the body work done. We're gonna focus on getting into primer. Once we got primer going on, you'll see that in the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all this stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. Integra sold just a couple of minutes ago. So the Integra's gone. Check out my Patreon. A lot of stuff going on. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.